What if I told you the tallest mountain on Earth is still growing? There's a desert larger than the entire United States, and that the point closest to outer space isn't Mount Everest. Some countries don't even have an army, and there's a continent hiding underwater that most people have never heard of. Here are 20 crazy geography facts you won't believe are real, and by the end of this video, you'll never look at the planet the same way again. Let's dive in. Fact 1. Mount Everest, the tallest mountain in the world, is growing by about 4 millimeters per year because the Indian tectonic plate continues to push northward into the Eurasian plate. This slow-motion collision has been happening for millions of years and is what created the Himalayas in the first place. Since Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay first reached the summit in 1953, Everest has grown more than 20 centimeters. And according to geologists, this growth isn't stopping anytime soon. Fact 2. Despite its name, the Dead Sea is not a sea at all. It's a landlocked lake with an extreme salt concentration. The water is nearly 10 times saltier than the ocean, which is why people can float effortlessly without swimming. The salt content is so high that almost no plants or animals can survive in it. Because the water is incredibly dense, diving underwater is nearly impossible. As the water evaporates, it leaves behind thick salt crystals that form surreal, alien-looking shapes along the shore. Fact 3. Japan experiences earthquakes almost daily. Living in Japan means living on one of the most unstable pieces of Earth's crust. Japan sits at the intersection of 4 tectonic plates, which causes more than 1,500 earthquakes every year. Many are too small to feel, but powerful earthquakes are a constant risk. To cope, Japan has built one of the world's most advanced earthquake early warning systems and regularly trains its population on emergency response. Fact 4. Almost all Australians live near the coast. Even though Australia is one of the largest countries on Earth, its population is surprisingly concentrated. About 95% of Australians live within 100 kilometers of the coastline, mostly in cities like Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane. The reason is simple. The interior of Australia is dominated by arid deserts and extreme temperatures. Coastal areas offer milder weather, better access to water, fertile land, and major ports, making them far more livable than the harsh outback. Fact 5. Iceland and Greenland's names are misleading. Iceland is actually greener and more fertile than its name suggests, while Greenland is covered by ice over 80% of its surface. Viking settlers deliberately named Greenland to make it sound inviting and attract new settlers. It worked so well that the misconception has lasted for over 1,000 years. Fact 6. Hidden in Siberia, Lake Baikal is the most extraordinary lake on the planet. It contains nearly 1/5 of all the fresh water on Earth, is over 25 million years old, and reaches depths of more than 1,600 meters, making it the deepest lake in the world. If Lake Baikal were completely drained, every river on Earth combined would take nearly a full year to refill it. The lake is also home to thousands of species found nowhere else, and its water is so clean it can be safely drunk straight from the source. Fact 7. In 1948, Costa Rica made a decision no other nation had dared to make. It abolished its military entirely. Instead of spending money on weapons and armies, the government redirected funds into education, healthcare, and social development. This bold move helped Costa Rica achieve one of the highest literacy rates in Latin America and a stable democracy in a region historically affected by conflict. Fact 8. The Great Wall of China can't be seen from space. The Great Wall of China stretches over 21,000 kilometers, but it's surprisingly narrow. From space, it blends into the natural landscape, making it invisible to the naked eye. The idea that it can be seen from space began as a myth in the early 20th century, long before humans ever left Earth. Every astronaut who's been asked has confirmed the truth. Fact 9. In Whittier, Alaska, nearly the entire population lives inside a single building. The structure, originally built as a military barracks during World War II, contains homes, a school, a grocery store, a medical clinic, a church, and even a post office. During the brutal Alaskan winters, residents can go weeks without stepping outside, turning the building into a fully self-contained vertical town. Fact 10. Despite being one of the largest countries on Earth, Mongolia has one of the smallest populations. With just about 2 people per square kilometer, vast areas of Mongolia feel completely untouched. Nearly half the population lives in Ulaanbaatar, leaving the endless steppes and deserts nearly empty. Harsh winters, nomadic traditions, and remote terrain have kept population density extremely low for centuries. Fact 11. For most of human history, we believed Earth had only 7 continents, but in 2017, scientists officially recognized an eighth one called Zealandia. What makes Zealandia so strange is that 94% of it is underwater. It's roughly twice the size of India, yet almost completely hidden beneath the Pacific Ocean. Only small portions rise above sea level, most notably New Zealand and New Caledonia. Zealandia broke away from Australia about 85 million years ago and slowly sank as the Earth's crust thinned. Fact 12. When people think of the Sahara Desert, they imagine endless sand, but they rarely grasp its true size. Covering about 9.2 million square kilometers, the Sahara is actually larger than the entire continental United States. It stretches across 10 countries, including Algeria, Egypt, Libya, Mali, and Niger. Fact 13. The Maldives is the flattest country on Earth. Its highest natural point rises only about 2.4 meters above sea level. The difference between the country's highest and lowest points is barely 5 meters. Made up of 1,192 coral islands, the Maldives is breathtaking but dangerously vulnerable. Even small increases in sea level could permanently flood large portions of the country, making climate change an immediate threat rather than a future concern. Fact 14. Some countries exist on more than one continent. Countries like Russia and Turkey are famously split between Europe and Asia, but they're not alone. Egypt is mostly in Africa, yet the Sinai Peninsula sits firmly in Asia. Kazakhstan and Azerbaijan also cross continental boundaries. These divisions are based on geology and history, not political borders. Fact 15. Actually, Russia is much closer to the US than you think. At their closest point, Alaska and Russia are separated by just 88 kilometers across the Bering Strait. Even more astonishing, the Diomede Islands, situated in the middle of the Bering Strait, bring the two nations within just 3.8 kilometers of each other. Little Diomede belongs to the United States, and Big Diomede to Russia. Fact 16. There is exactly one place on Earth where snakes simply cannot exist: Antarctica. The continent's average temperature sits around -49 degrees Celsius, far below what reptiles can survive. Antarctica covers 14 million square kilometers, making it the planet's fifth largest continent, and the only one completely free of snakes. If you have a fear of them, this is the safest place on Earth. Fact 17. China and India together hold over 1/3 of the human population. India and China each have populations exceeding 1.4 billion people. Together, they account for over 35% of the entire global population. Fact 18. At the Four Corners Monument, you can do something incredibly rare: stand in 4 states simultaneously. This is the only point in the United States where Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, and Utah all meet. Fact 19. Most people assume Mount Everest is the closest place on Earth to outer space, but that's wrong. That title belongs to Mount Chimborazo in Ecuador. Because Earth bulges outward at the equator, Chimborazo's summit is farther from Earth's center than Everest's peak, even though it's shorter. So technically, if you stood on Chimborazo's summit, you'd be closer to outer space than anyone standing on Everest. Fact 20. The coldest place on Earth where people live year-round is Oymyakon, a remote village deep in Siberia. During winter, temperatures here regularly plunge to around -60 degrees Celsius, cold enough to freeze exposed skin in minutes. In fact, Oymyakon holds the record for the lowest temperature ever recorded in a permanently inhabited settlement.